Kroc Nation, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? My name is Daryl Wren. Welcome to another edition of Kroc Sports Talk. I'm joined as usual with my host, Ms. Jackie Foster, Mr. Darius Jackson, and my man Jason Dawson is going to come on a little later in the show. We got so much to talk about. We're going to start off with last week's poll question regarding should sports be canceled across the board for 2020. We got Cam Newton's signing we need to talk about. Major League Baseball look like they finally got their act together. Noosegate has been shed, a little more light has been shed on that regarding Bubba Wallace and everything. So we're going to get everything kicked off and started. We're going to actually start off with last week's poll question. Should there be sports in 2020? Y'all ain't going to believe this, Kroc Sports Nation. The results came back in an exact tie. That's the first time that's ever happened in Kroc Sports Talk history, an exact tie. Darius, talk to me. What was the final number? Well, yeah, what were the final numbers, even though it was a tie?
Like you said, D, was a tie, 11-11.
11-11.
Which is very surprising to me, but I was on the side of bringing sports back, us being thirsty as fans.
Okay.
Me being a very sports fanatic, I would want sports back in some way, somehow. I believe with them and the abilities that they have, they can be able to do it in a safe way. If it doesn't include fans, then it doesn't include fans.
Okay.
But, I believe Jackie was opposite of that. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, I voted against it. I feel like there's so much going on in the world besides the pandemic, all the racism and things of that nature. I just don't know if right now is the time.
Okay. All right. I can see both points. My reason, I was against it, but my reasoning just mainly because, particularly with COVID-19, it's so jacked up, I just don't see how you can do it. Even if you start, I don't see how you finish. I mean, because you're assuming that no one's going to test positive during this time. I just don't see that. It's just not realistic. I think if once sports get started, it's going to be just like Texas and Florida and California, where you have to shut it down again. So we'll see what's happening. But Kroc Nation, thank y'all for participating. And, you know, it's a dead heat. We'll see what happens moving forward. It looks like things are going to get started. But we'll see if they finish or not. That's the thing. We'll dip into that a little later. But what just came over the wire over the last, I guess, 24 hours or so, Cam Newton has finally signed with an NFL team. And needless to say, he signed with one of the best organizations and one of the best coaches in the business. Cam Newton signed with the New England Patriots. So he's gonna be playing under Bill Belichick. Jackie, what do you think about that signing?
I'm happy for him. I've never really been a Patriots fan though, but I'm gonna be rooting for Cam though. I'm praying that it revives his career. I hope he has a great season.
Yep. Darius, what about you?
Man, come back full circle. All these years you were against the Patriots and don't want them to win anymore, and then they go around and do something like sign Cam Newton. So change your whole mindset of the Patriots. Happy for Cam. I think it's very deserving. I think it's a great fit as far as for him and his career. I think it's going to revive his career. He's an MVP quarterback. I mean, that's very much more you can't really say. He's been to the Super Bowl before, so he does know how to win. I think being with Bill Belichick and that defense, I'm ready for the season to start.
Yeah, I've never been a Patriots fan. Did I say that already? I've never been a Patriots fan. Let me just clarify that. However, you know, I'm happy for my man Cam, and I do think if there was a perfect team for him to go to at this point in his career, I think it's New England Patriots and playing under Bill Belichick. If any team, if any coach can revive his career, I think it's Bill Belichick. I mean, you know, we got history on our side to prove that. It's a one-year deal. I think what is he getting paid, like $7 million, something like that? I mean, it's a on one hand, you know, some people might say, I know Richard Sherman is already speaking out on it, talking about it's a low-ball deal, whatever. You know, you got a bunch of bums around the league making more than Cam, which is true, you know. But, you know, with his health issues and whatnot, I think it reminds me a lot. I'm going back in time, y'all, so y'all forgive me being the old man of the group. It reminds me years ago in the late 80s when the Cubs signed Andre Dawson. Dallas Green basically gave him a blank check and said, fill it out what you think, you should get. And it was something like $500,000. It was a ridiculously low offer. But Andre Dawson wound up winning the MVP that year. Needless to say, he signed a new contract and he got all that money back and then some. So I think something similar might happen with Cam, whereas, okay, you're going to, take the little short deal right now, but assuming if he can get his career back on track, he going to make all that money back and then some. Jackie, what you think about that?
I agree. He got to prove himself again with the injuries that he's had. So when he come back, I've been watching his off-season training. He had some workouts with Odell Beckham Jr. So I agree. I think that even though he's not getting probably what he wants right now, he'll definitely prove himself and show himself deserving of the money.
Okay. Darius, what about you?
Same. I think the one-year deal, it may have been even something that he probably worked out with his agent. He's got to prove something. He got a year to prove it. He's been off football for a while. Everybody knows he's had a lot of shoulder problems. So him coming off shoulder surgery, him being off football for a year, I believe it takes him to prove that he is worth the money.
Right.
I think it's a win-win as well for him. Having that one-year deal, he does have a great year. Maybe he doesn't want to go back to the Patriots. And at that point in time, who wouldn't want to take him if he has a great year?
Right.
If he wins comeback player of the year, he'll have an open contract to anywhere he wants to go and be able to sign however much he wants to sign for.
Okay. All right. I'm too broke, bootleg, and poor to have an inside source on this, so this is really coming from my gut. But even though they announced the signing yesterday, I got a feeling Cam been a Patriot probably for some months. I'm guessing that this was the deal that they had already made a while ago. He probably already know the playbook. I'm thinking that they just announced it yesterday for whatever reason. But I seriously doubt that this just, organically came out of nowhere. I think this was probably something that's been in the works, and they announced it yesterday. I think Cam's going to be fine. So we're going to stay tuned and see what's happening. They done kind of converted some of us into at least semi-Patriot fans. So we'll see, and we wish Brother Cam the best, obviously. All right, we're going to switch gears and turn to Major League Baseball. They have finally agreed, the owners and the players, to play a 60-game season. All right? Now, as much as I love baseball, 60 games is enough for me. They can keep this for the rest of their lives, as far as I'm concerned, because 162 is way too many games. I'm sorry. So they done agreed to a 60-game schedule. The big question is, what took so long, Darius? Why now? Because to me, it don't seem like much changed from late last week to the same offers that were being made previously. Why now? What changed?
I'm not quite sure because I didn't hear anything different either. I remember last episode, the last show we had, we talked about how they were in the flux and we didn't know what was going to go on.
Right.
But now it's a season. So, I mean, as you've seen that the commissioner came out and said we need to be better for our fans. You're absolutely right. You got a season. I hope it doesn't show as far as the product on the field that
Right.
you just threw the season together. I hope that players have been preparing. I hope some type of insight to the players were given that say that they were going to have a season. I'm happy that they came to a median and they found a way to have a season, but they got to get the ball rolling. Do we even know when they'll actually start? Is that even set out yet?
I don't have the exact date. It's my understanding it's late July. And
like
I think it's 60 games in like 67 days. So there'll be—
That's a lot of games, a lot of
And it's
doubleheaders
my
that sounds
understanding, don't quote me on the final date, I believe the season is supposed to end on September 24th. And the playoffs start immediately after that, and the playoffs shouldn't go past the second week, I believe, second or third week of October. It definitely won't bleed into November. Jackie, what do you think about them basically chopping off 100 games of the normal schedule to get in these 60?
It seemed like, how they had so much confusion going on with so many people, so many players had tested positive, I think the last time we had talked. So it seemed like now they just want the fans, they want the players to be able to get some games in. So they just trying to make anything happen at this point.
Right.
the amount of games, I mean, baseball players, they play just about the whole year round. So I guess they figure, hey, if we give them 60, it's better than none.
Okay, all right. I mean, just found out, I believe the season starts on July 23rd, and it's going to run, I believe, up to September 24th. Yeah, baseball seemed, we were just talking about it on the show a week ago. At that point, it just shows you how much can happen in a week. It seemed like that they were looking like the last sport to restart. And now it's looking like they may be the first to get going. One thing I can say for sure, and this was probably more on ownership and the commissioner than the player, baseball can't afford to lose no fans, period. I mean, it's a sport that I often said is still my first love. I grew up on, but it has had trouble throughout the years gaining new fans. And the older fans are, quite frankly, are dying off, and you're not replacing them. So I think it was good to come to some type of agreement and get started on this. But once again, and this is my own personal beliefs, and we're gonna delve into the COVID-19 issue in a little bit, but I don't see how you're gonna complete a season in any sport once you get started. I just don't see how you're gonna do it. Darius, what about you?
I mean, we'll see with the start with the baseball. I mean, like Jackie said, I think they just threw 60 games out there so to be able to have a season. I totally agree with you as far as the fans. Their fans need to change, or as far as gain new fans. Having a season may help that. A lot of people don't watch baseball until playoff baseball anyway. So, I mean, I can see why they still wanted to have their 60 games and then be able to still have their playoff. Playoff baseball is very popular. And it's going to seem different now with no fans, but that's something that people do watch. And we'll see how many fans they actually gain with this, with no fans being in the stands and not really having a realism about going to a ballpark and being at the baseball game and sitting at the ballpark, because that's a different experience than watching it at home.
Right.
It definitely is. I think anybody that watches baseball and knows baseball, it's totally different than going to the park and watching the game and then watching it at home.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens.
Stay tuned, definitely. I mean, I'm happy it's back. We'll see what happens. All right. Noose Gate. The Bubba Wallace situation, the NASCAR with the noose. That when we were on last week, we were talking about how the FBI concluded that the rope had been there since October, that it was a rope that was being used as some type of mechanism to open and close the garage doors to the garage or what have you. Then a few days later, an actual still picture of the noose was posted, and thankfully, I don't believe I've ever seen a noose up close, an actual noose, but like the old saying, if you walk like a duck and cluck like a duck, it's usually a duck. The picture I saw looked like a noose, all right? It didn't look like anything that's used as a mechanism to open and close a garage door. Jackie, did you happen to see that picture?
Yeah, I did, and I thought that the investigation was way too short. Like, how did they come up with the conclusion that it's been there since October? And even if it has, it still doesn't mean that it wasn't a hate crime.
Right. And then, Darius, I want you to piggyback on this. They said it had been there since October, and it was used for the garage door in some kind of way, but yet this same rope or type of rope wasn't found in other garages. Then my question is, I'm going to bounce this to you, Darius, out of all the NASCAR drivers, how come Bubba Wallace get the garage with the noose in it?
With the noose latch, right?
Yeah.
We'll get Bubba the one with the noose latch.
Yeah, out of all them drivers, he get that garage.
This investigation, I believe, was a bunch of malarkey and baloney.
Yeah. Malarkey, that's a good one.
Malarkey, a new one, right?
I can count the number of times I've heard a black person say malarkey.
That's how ridiculous this was.
Oh, my God, that's how ridiculous it was. Okay, I'm with you.
A hatch to open the garage? Really?
Right.
Like, come on.
What happened to electricity?
Give me something else, man. Exactly, like, aren't these newer garages?
I don't know, it's 2020 last I checked.
Aren't these billion-dollar teams that have these million-dollar cars? You got a garage latch that looks like a noose?
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Let's be honest. If you even gonna come up with that, as far as the investigation, why do you release that photo? How do you release that photo?
Exactly.
That photo does not help the case at all.
Not at all.
It does not help it at all.
Look.
I mean, and then it's just so he walked in and then all of a sudden he didn't know it was like that, or he hadn't been in his garage before. It's just so much stuff going on.
Yeah,
it's so confusing. I think NASCAR is covering up something. They might be trying to save their own. It might have came from one of his teammates. You never know. But the picture didn't help.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's Newsgate. We'll see what else happens. I don't even think anything else is going to happen from this.
No, I don't think anything. I don't think we'll ever know the true story what happened here. All I say is this, FBI, whoever it is, if you're going to lie to me, at least tell me a good lie. I might still know you're lying, but if you make it sound plausible and interesting, I might say, okay, I'll ride with it even though I still don't believe you. But, but to come up with this and I don't know, this just seems, like Jackie said, it seemed like this was quick and very weak in terms of the explanation. So I doubt we'll ever know what happened, y'all, but hey, as long as the man is okay, and I like the solidarity that the other drivers gave to him during that time. So if it took all that to bring them closer together, then I guess, maybe the ends justifies the means. I don't know. But moving on, the NBA is also getting ready to start back up. It's going to be in the bubble in Florida, even though that's one of the hotbeds. But, Adam Silver was talking, I believe over the weekend, he was saying how that, we can't outrun the virus, so I guess he figures we just going to deal with it as best as we can. And I'm hearing now that the players that are going to be participating, the jerseys are going to be modified where it's not necessarily going to have their last names on the back. They can actually express some of their social views. Jackie, what do you think about what's going on with the NBA?
I think it was Chris Paul, who's over like the NBA Players Union, whose idea was to have these social justice statements on the back of their jerseys. I think it's a good idea, even though I still don't think that the NBA season should start. They're black men. It's so many black men in the NBA, and they gotta allow them to have a voice in some type of way. Okay.
Darius, what about you? I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah, the whole start of the NBA, I'm sorry to say, I'm excited to see sports come back in some way. Them being in the bubble, them doing the testing, them having all of the right procedures in order for them to control the virus as much as they can. I believe Adam Silver's right. We can't outrun the virus. I believe if they take all the right necessary steps, that they can be safe. We've seen a lot of sports around the world still be able to be played. We do see some states retracting them, but I do believe that also that's from the more testing that we do have now. But with that being said, I'm excited to see what it even looks like.
Right.
Some NBA players have backed out. Some believe it's not a good idea. But then you have some like Paul George. I believe he had an interview not too long ago where he was explaining everybody be so much excited just to be back to play basketball. I don't think not having fans there, not being in a bubble that's really not mattering. Some of these guys love the game of basketball. That they're willing to do whatever it takes in order for them to play the game of basketball. I just think that's something that we're willing to see, or is going to be a gift for us to see.
Right. And let me say, and I think I can speak for my other hosts when I say this, and if I'm wrong, y'all tell me. When we have different opinions on should they play, should they not play, or whatever. I think we all agree that we want to see them play. And it's just some of us who feel that they shouldn't. We just logistically or practically, we just don't see right now. We just can't see how. But if you can pull it off, hey, you can pull it off. So it's really not a right or wrong type thing. It's just we've been without sports for so long. I get it too, where people want to see it no matter what shape or size it looks like. So we get it. Kind of staying on topic, John Carlos. Now this goes in my age range. It was John Carlos and Tommy Smith at the Mexico City Olympics in 1968, who did the famous sign. They were also protesting some of the brutality and whatnot that was going on during that time, particularly regarding law enforcement and African Americans. But he's saying that U.S. athletes should fight to end the Olympic protest rule that is still currently in effect, and that rule, by and large, was implemented for John Carlos and Tommy Smith. Jackie, what do you think about the rule? You think that archaic rule should be finally lifted?
I definitely do think. I don't even understand why they put it in place anyway. You can't have any, I think it says they don't want you to have any religious, any political or anything like that. They don't want you to
Nope.
Do any type of.
Just run and jump.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they're people before they're athletes, and a lot of, like John Carlos, he stood up for what he believed in, and I don't think that it's fair that they're not able to have a voice or have a stand on what they believe.
Darius?
I mean, athletes should have a stand. This is a worldwide view of these athletes. Some countries may view into the Olympics that maybe never seen these athletes before.
True.
And that's coming from people from other countries as well. They're showing something that we may never seen before, or they may bring to light something we may not know. That could have been somebody else from a whole other country doing the same thing.
Okay.
So I believe that it should be lifted as well.
Right. Well, hopefully it will. That's all we can do at this point is hope. It's been over 50 years, but maybe a change is coming. We'll see.
With all the other changes, it'd be nice to see that it will.
It would be nice to see, absolutely. COVID-19 is still around, y'all. You got a lot of states, Texas, Florida, California, spiking. You got a lot of players, even though the NBA is about to restart. We've got quite a few players, and it looks like the list may swell up, that are backing out of playing in Florida for a lot of reasons, but primarily out of concern for COVID-19. We've had 16 players so far in the NBA that have tested positive. Darius, what do you think about the players that are backing out, and also about the possibility of more players testing positive?
Well, once again, I believe Adam Silver said it best: we can't outrun the virus. Them being able to test or find out the 16 players that were positive out of the, I believe, 300. I believe all of those players may have had small symptoms or maybe asymptomatic as well. So we'll see as far as the recovery when it comes to that, and finding out how they're going to approach those people as far as coming back to their teams, or if they'll allow them to come back to their teams. I believe them finding the virus, being able to contact the virus as much as possible. I believe all of the different ways that they're going to be able to find out if somebody's sick. I believe prior days too, if they find out, they'll be able to know if somebody's sick. So I think they're taking all the right precautions when it comes to COVID-19. Like you said, we're still uncertain. We still have Texas and other states retracting back because the numbers are spiking.
Right.
But I do believe that's also because we have more testing, and testing is available now.
Right.
But we'll see. Us being a state that's on a positive, with us opening up more, I believe we'll get a real answer once our state starts to see in a couple weeks if opening up was good or not.
Jackie, what about you?
I think so many of the players, some of them have small children. Some of them, I think I saw an article where some of them are expecting children to be born. So they're keeping their families in consideration. They
Right.
don't want to contract something and then possibly get it to their families. It's hard to say though, because there's so many spikes in different areas, so you don't know who's around who, and then they come around you. You don't really know where everybody's been. So it's hard to say.
Right. I know I said a few shows ago that somebody has to go first, and somebody does. It appears right now, at least, it's probably going to be baseball. And I think whichever sport goes first, that will kind of shed the light on the other sports to follow as to, the do's and don'ts and what we should do and don't do. And we all understand it's not a perfect world, and no matter how tight your plan may be, any little thing can make you deviate from it. So, but this virus is just not going away. I mean, the Davis Cup in tennis has been canceled. Morehouse has canceled their entire sports season because of COVID-19. UConn, University of Connecticut, has eliminated 4 sports, I think like cross country, tennis, things like that, due to COVID-19. I think, are we at the point, Darius, I'm going to start with you, and then we're going to kick it to my man Jason, who looks like he's about to join us. are we at that point where we just have to accept the fact, at least for the immediate future, we're going to have to dance to the music that COVID-19 is playing versus the music we'd rather listen to ourselves?
It's at this point, Daryl, it's starting to seem that way. It's starting to seem that people are just going to be able to go through life or be able to move through life, but be somewhat aware of the virus. You do have a lot of people that move through life who are just like, COVID's there, but they're going to continue with everything that's going on. I think a lot of what's going on, I think the time, like we're in the summertime right now, it brings the people's minds off of the COVID, which shouldn't be. I think people are just trying to get back to somewhat normalcy as well, with states opening up. A lot of states already been open.
Yeah.
With COVID-19, it's a big question mark. It continues to be a big question mark for all of us. We just have to go as each day goes, and just go by the numbers that we see and what can we do to prevent from not having it and prevent from not spreading it.
Jason, what about you, bro?
Yeah, I'm on the same accord as Darius said, but it kind of sucks. Like we just talked about Morehouse, I want to kind of specifically talk about that because that affects my family personally. Because my great nephew is going to be a linebacker this year at Morehouse, and they told him to stay home because they canceled the season.
Wow.
And it's like it's really devastating to him. You know what I'm saying? He was really looking forward to it. We all were. We all excited. So it's just a downer, you know. And this is why I said I think all sports shouldn't be played right now. I know we kind of look for those sports stories to uplift us and to kind of distract us from the perils of the world. But still, it's like let's all calm down. Let's let this stuff bypass. Let's let this whatever. Right. I guess if we have a vaccine for it, let's let it work. Let's let something happen before we get back and just jump right into things again.
Jay, I'm glad you used that perspective, which I happen to agree on. I don't know anybody that loves sports more than I do.
Right.
But I think the main reason for me, I can speak for myself, why I would prefer everything just shuts down. It seems to me like, and I think I've used this expression on a previous show, it's like we're putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. I don't think we're treating this virus, we're not giving this virus the respect that, quite frankly, it demands. Because the bottom line is, to me, as long as we keep piecemealing and robbing Peter to pay Paul and trying to do these little things to try to get to some semblance of normalcy, I just don't see, even if we can start it, I don't see how we can sustain it.
Yes.
Because the virus isn't going away. And when you bring up the vaccine, I think that's a perfect way to put it. Until we can get some kind of cure, and especially the way the country is going, and I get it, it's summertime, the weather's nice, people are young, they want to get out and they want to go to the bars and they want to, be in the atmosphere again. And so I'm not necessarily beating up people for feeling that way, but realistically, the reason why other countries are so far ahead of us, not to get on a big soapbox about this, in terms of handling this pandemic is because they shut it down. Nothing else was happening. We're still trying to live almost like the virus isn't there. And it hasn't been working for us so far. I don't see why we think it's going to work now. What do you think, Darius?
Right.
I totally agree, but as well as people are looking for normalcy. And I think that's, like you said, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Is people want to have normalcy. That's what they want. They want to get back to their normal lives. Nobody thought when this thing happened we would get to even this deep into it as far as us staying at home or us having the quarantine time that we had, a lot of states shutting down. The economy came down as far as the states shutting down, so I think a lot of people wanted to open up the states because of that as well. But like you said, we have to get control of the virus. A lot of people want to go out and do their thing. And me personally, I'm a person that stay at home. This is the summer to chill out in your backyard if you have a backyard, or to chill out at home and do some things around the house.
Yes.
If you want to invite a couple friends over, invite a couple friends over, but also be very mindful of what's going on. COVID is something it's a big question mark.
Right.
Jason.
And Darius just hit on something real poignant right there. This is a question mark. We don't know the severity of it. We got a couple of stats out there about age and predisposed conditions and all that stuff, but we don't know what's going on.
No.
So like Darius said, like you said, big bro, we can have maybe a couple people over. You know, maybe, but let's temper it. America, let's temper it first before we go out there and think we can be normal, because right now we can't. That's just the facts. We can't.
Texas Tech had 23 players and staff test positive. Sydney Colson for Chicago Sky, she's tested positive.
Yep.
This isn't going away. It's just not. Nope. And I think until we finally, once again, my opinion, until we get a wrap on this as far as a vaccine or what have you, to me it's just best to just shut everything down and let's try it again next year, because I just don't see what we're doing right now. To me is just not the answer. I understand why you want to try, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
To start, just to stop again.
Exactly. That's my thing.
Yeah.
To start just to stop again.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that's going on right now that's different from back in March.
Right.
I'll just use the NBA as an example. The NBA shut down in March. They were the one that kind of led the way as far as, sports go, shutting everything down when Rudy Gobert tested positive, right? Okay, so now you restart. One player tests positive after you restart, doesn't matter who. What do you do now? What if you follow your original plan, you shut down again, right?
Right.
So I believe that they have said, Adam Silver also said, that if somebody does retract this virus and somebody does get this virus, that they will continue.
They did. They sure did. Adam Silver said
I
that.
think I heard that.
Said that.
Then why did you shut down in March?
Because I believe now, in March, we still don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like you said, we still don't know what's going on. But in March, but I guess in March they really didn't know what was going on.
Right.
We somewhat know now, but
So we kind of know what's going on now, right?
We kind of know what's going on.
We are none the wiser.
We don't know nothing. Let's just keep it real. We ain't done no more education since from the beginning of March to now. We don't know nothing. All we know is that it started back up again because a lot of people out here being reckless. Let's just keep it real. I'm sorry. I only know one way, y'all.
That's
Forgive
really
me.
what it is. That's really what it is.
That's just the way it is. And if one, two, NBA talking about, well, we just gonna keep it going. Okay, you might keep it going if one person, contract, but what if 10 get it?
10, right.
What you gonna do then?
7 off of a team.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James?
Right. I was just gonna say, what if the main cats get it?
Come on.
You're gonna shut it down. It's because it's over anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to watch Ryan Arcidiacono play 48
Right, come
minutes
on,
of
man.
basketball.
Let's keep it real.
Nothing against you, Ryan. I love you for the Bulls, but not 48 minutes.
Yeah.
What if one of them did retract it? Like, what if you had one of them did retract it and they just didn't let nobody
Like nobody know. Oh.
Like LeBron got it, but he asymptomatic. He ain't showing no signs. He healthy. He gonna play.
Come
He's
on,
not gonna
man.
be like, nah, I ain't playing. Because when Donovan Mitchell had it, he said, if I had to play right now in a playoff game, I would play.
Yep.
Right.
Did. Sure
Right.
did.
So, I mean, if
Yes.
one of them retracted, hey, LeBron, you might have it.
Yeah, to me, y'all, there's still too many unknowns. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, before we close out the show, we got to give a shout out to our man Vince Carter, Vince Sanity.
Oh,
Vince Sanity, he said, all right, y'all, 21 years, baby. I done gave y'all a lot of thrills, a lot of highlights, but the old man is getting old. I can't get up there no more like I used to be able to. I had to shut it down. Jason, what do you want to say about Vince Sanity, man?
Man, look, I've only won one number in my whole basketball career, and that was 21 because of Dominique Wilkins. One man has made me change that number when I got older, and that was Vince Sanity.
I heard that.
At North Carolina, I used to rock the North Carolina Blue 15 everywhere. He has been one of the greatest ambassadors for the game. He's been eloquent. He's been a humanitarian. He's been a great sportsman. He has shown you how to keep your body, pure class, and he's shown you how to keep your body in shape. 20-some years in the NBA. That's playing ball for real every day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Come on, man. I love you, Vince.
Darius?
You go.
Congratulations to Vince Carter. He changed the game. He changed the game of basketball.
Changed the game.
Toronto.
Did
he brought basketball fans to Toronto.
Yes.
He was the human highlight reel.
Yes.
He was definitely a permanent player within my vision of basketball and me growing up watching basketball. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to him and his family.
Yes.
As well as, I don't think this will be the last time we see Vince Carter. We're probably going to see him around doing some other stuff in the NBA. He's, like you said, Jason, he's an ambassador of the NBA. These last couple years,
absolutely, yeah.
He's been on teams
yeah.
just to
Yes.
Groom these young players.
Just to be mental,
I believe
yes.
he's with Sacramento, Atlanta, just all the smaller players, all the younger players. He's grooming. That's a great thing. I'm happy to see him retire. It's sad to see him retire during the pandemic. He couldn't get the farewell he really deserved.
Right.
Deserved, but he had a great career.
Hey, tell you what, y'all. Dr. J, Dominique Wilkins, my main man, Michael Jordan, we ain't got to go on. But the best in-game dunker, in my opinion, was Vince Carter.
Come on,
Vince Sanity, baby.
Come on, big
Nobody could dunk like this man during the basketball game. I'm sorry. He was the best. Mad props to your brother. God bless you and your family. You left us 21 years of great memories and highlights, and we wish you nothing but the best moving forward. So, mad props to you, Vince Carter.
Yes.
God bless you, my brother.
And Daryl, big bro, I'm sorry. Just to add one little thing. I'm glad you said he's the best in-game dunker. So the best dunk I've ever seen him attempt, he missed.
What?
Ed Cota threw it off the backboard. This is like 1995 tournament. Ed Cota threw off the backboard. Vince Carter came from out of nowhere. And when he missed it, it was with so much force that the ball went all the way back to full court.
I think I remember that.
Oh, my God. He was just up so high. I was like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
This dude is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So many great highlights from
So
him.
many.
I
Absolutely.
think it's the only person I've seen dunk on somebody backwards for a game.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. During the game.
He dunked on Tim Duncan backwards.
And
for a
Frederick
game.
Weiss, bye-bye. Sorry.
Well, that's the most famous.
Yeah, that's the most famous one right there.
All right. Okay. We had a different poll question for next week, but if y'all don't mind, I'm going to switch it up slightly. Since last week's poll question ended in a tie, we're going to keep the poll question going. So we're going to allow you, Kroc, Sports Nation, we're going to let y'all continue to vote on this, and we want to break this tie. Should sports continue in 2020 or not? We're going to keep it going for another week. Y'all tell us what you think.
I like that. Yeah.
And once again, we want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy lives to share this time with us here on Kroc Sports Talk. Of course, we want to thank our hosts, Ms. Jackie Foster, Mr. Darius Jackson, Mr. Jason Dawson. We want to thank our production crew because they definitely, we wouldn't be here without them. And certainly want to thank the Salvation Army Ranch on Kroc Center and our spiritual leaders, Majors John and Johanna Pook. And most of all, we want to thank you, Kroc Sports Nation, for supporting us and being there for us and taking times out of your life to watch the show each week. Remember, once again, all things can be done through Christ who loves us. We'll see y'all next week, same bad time, same bad channel. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be out there. Be safe. Be smart. We'll see you next week. Peace.